My wife was sucking me dry financially and emotionally and I couldn't do it anymore. So I am leaving my wife tomorrow and I couldn't be happier. I and my wife have been married for 10 years. We dated for 6 years before that and I got a lot of pressure to get married from my parents and her parents. Something in my gut said that this wasn't right. I called it cold feet and did my best to ignore it. We got married. Pretty much the moment the ink was dry on our marriage license, things went south. On our honeymoon, she did nothing but complain I hadn't booked a nicer hotel. In the following months, she wanted a new apartment, a new car, gifts, jewelry, and handbags. It was never enough. It's like the moment she got the ring, it stopped being about me and became about what I could give her. I am a doctor. I make good money. Not good enough to support the kind of lifestyle she wants though. We don't have intimacy anymore. We don't laugh, and we don't talk about anything but money. We have no kids. She said she wanted them before marriage, then changed her mind, and our home looks like a showroom. There is no warmth, joy, or even comfort here. I hate it. I hate her. I am a 45-year-old physician, and I have barely enough savings to sustain us for 3 months. I want to retire someday, and I want to enjoy my life. I rented a cool apartment across town, in a less desirable neighborhood, with a stack of IKEA furniture waiting for me to set it up there. The lease is up on the Mercedes my wife pushed me to lease next month and I will replace it with a used Prius. I'm starting therapy next week. I have a divorce attorney who has assured me that the prenup we signed before marriage means I won't have to pay alimony. I hope to leave the higher paying job that my wife insisted I take for something with fewer hours sometime in the next year. I will ask out the pretty barista who flirts with me every morning. I'm telling her first thing tomorrow. I'm expecting her to cry and beg and demand we try therapy. I don't want any of that. This was never right, and I'm only sorry it took me so long to realize it. I'm sorry I've wasted so much of my life being married to a woman because I thought it was the right thing. I am so excited. Update. Usually when I wake up, I go for a run or a bike ride. While I'm gone my wife gets up, gets dressed, gets a smoothie going. Whatever. This morning I paced the kitchen, rehearsing what I had to tell her repeatedly. When she finally came down, I felt oddly calm. I wasn't expecting to be panicked exactly, but apprehensive, at least. I told her I needed to speak to her. She gave me an aha and didn't look up from the coffee machine. Then I just came out with it. I told her I was leaving and that I wanted a divorce. We hadn't been happy in a long time, and I felt as though she didn't care about me or my emotional needs. Pretty much instantly, the gaslighting began. She cried that I never get her flowers anymore, that I don't do enough to support her, that I don't care if she's happy. I brought up the fact that I suggested therapy over a year ago and she agreed, but then made excuse after excuse not to go. I brought up the time she completely ignored the budget we worked on. I told her how it made me feel when she dismissed me when I tried to tell her how I was feeling. The crying escalated then, along with begging for a chance to make this right, to go to therapy, that she would be better. It went like I thought it would go, and I felt absolutely nothing. I don't care anymore. Whatever I once felt for her is just dead and gone, and she might as well have been a second cousin sobbing about her marriage for all the connection I felt to it. Eventually, I just got fed up and walked out. She has been blowing up my phone with calls and texts ranging from angry to begging to threatening. I started getting calls from her mother and mine, too. But by the end of the day, I spoke briefly to my mother and calmly explained that I was sorry she didn't hear it from me, but my wife was sucking me dry financially and emotionally and I couldn't do it anymore. She was surprisingly supportive. I'm currently in my new apartment. I unrolled the mattress in a box and went to Walmart for sheets. I ate Thai takeout for dinner at the kitchen counter and watched a bit of Netflix on my computer. I have everything I need for the next few days. My wife is getting served tomorrow. I keep expecting the sadness to set in but it hasn't. I feel like 1,000 pounds are off my shoulders, and suddenly, my future is full of possibilities. I'm going to travel. I'm going to try new restaurants. I'm going to take a job that actually makes me happy and proud instead of rich. Much to the internet's chagrin, I will ask out the barista because, despite their unpopular opinion, she is age appropriate, it's her family's business, and I do have the interpersonal skills to recognize the difference between customer service and actual connection. Cheers, everyone. I'm going to have a beer and then take a walk around my new neighborhood. Edit. Alright, folks, I've gotten a lot of comments begging me not to ask out the barista as it's her job to be nice to me. I didn't get into my relationship with her because I didn't think it was relevant to the divorce. But here goes. I met her about a year ago. She's 30. I don't usually wear a wedding ring because my job requires me to scrub regularly. She actually asked me out, invited me to a food truck festival in town. A few months into knowing each other, I said I was married, and she was embarrassed. Since then, we've had a bit of a running joke going where she asks me, "So, still married?" My current plan is to reply not for long and see what happens.